What's up, guys? Welcome back to Hear Me Out, where we're taking our talents to Parlor. So make sure you give us a follow over there.
Where Patriots
Today, we're
reside.
going to be discussing the most overrated player in the modern NBA. And we can start with Jesse on this.
So, this is maybe a little bit controversial. I am a fan of Russell Westbrook. At the same time, I recognize he's the most overrated player in the NBA. His finishing at the rim, if you actually go and look at it, is not what you'd expect for a slasher like him. You'd expect someone who can't shoot the three and who's super athletic to finish at a high clip. I think he was around 54% for his career, maybe even a little lower. He's wild. He's out of control. His defense isn't great. He is super athletic. He overly relies on his athleticism, and it doesn't translate to wins. He's played with Kevin Durant, James Harden, and Serge Ibaka. They made the finals and lost it. He played with Kevin Durant a few more years. They didn't do anything. He played with James Harden in Houston. It didn't work out. He's played with a lot of talent and not had a lot of success. He's with the Wizards now, and they're off to a terrible start. His style of play doesn't translate to wins. He's a good player. I'm a fan of Russell Westbrook. He's the most overrated player in the league. His MVP was strictly because he averaged a triple-double. He was not the best player that year. James Harden was. He's just that's just what it is.
Yeah. So for mine, I'm going to preface it a little bit because people are going to be like, he's the most overrated in the league. I think there's a lot of obvious options, guys like Draymond Green or Paul George that I could have gone with, but I think people are starting to kind of alter their expectations for those guys. I don't think they're as overrated anymore. They could go with a guy like Zach LaVine or D'Angelo Russell, who's super talented, but they always suck. But I think most people know that about them. So to me, overrated is the guy that people say they're great at something, and they're not as great as everyone says they are. That, to me, hands down in the NBA, is Patrick Beverley. Patrick Beverley is touted for his elite defense. Okay, that's why he's out there. His heart, his hustle, his elite defense. And if you look at his stats and his analytics, it shows that he's a good defender, right? So if you just pull up the stats, oh, look at his defensive rating. He's clearly good. Well, I trust my eyeballs over stats sometimes, much to Jesse's disagreement. And my eyeballs have never seen a basketball player foul on the defensive end and the refs not call it like Patrick Beverley. He reaches in and it's fouls and they don't call it. He fouls any way you can foul on defense at the rim when he's going for block shots. 70% of his block shots are fouls. The refs are like, dang, did y'all see something? Because I didn't. It's almost like his reputation precedes him, and they're like, he's an elite defender, so that was probably a clean play. And you watch the replay, and it was a blatant foul, and they didn't call it. Those things go toward his defensive ratings. It makes him look better than he is. He does hustle, I'll give him that. So he's all over the court. It gives him more instances to play defense, whereas the other elite players in the NBA don't move around like he does. So it boosts his defensive rating too, just because he runs around harder on the court than everybody else does. But he's touted as one of the best defenders in the league. And when you watch him, he just isn't. If refs would call him the same way they call everyone else, he'd foul out in the second quarter of every game. He would not play good defense. His offensive contributions to the game are negligible. The last 3 years, he's averaged, less than 9 points a game, less than 4 assists a game, less than half a block a game, and barely a steal a game. I mean, the defense is okay. The offense is a joke. I don't think he brings anything to your team on the offensive side of the ball. His defense is not what people say it is. He's touted as one of the best defenders in the league. He just isn't. He doesn't play that good defense.
So I am typically an analytics guy, but I actually am going to agree with you there. And I'm going to use a quote from my most overrated player, Russell Westbrook, who said, Patrick Beverley, trick y'all, man, just running around doing nothing.
Yeah.
I do think it, but my thing is, Patrick Beverley, I think most people kind of recognize that Patrick Beverley being a great defensive is kind of overhyped by media. I think the average fan doesn't like Patrick Beverley. My thing with we're talking about most overrated. There's a large subsection of NBA fans who think Russell Westbrook is a top 5 player. I don't even think Russell Westbrook is the best player on his team. I think Bradley Beal is a better player than Russell Westbrook. I don't think Russell Westbrook's been the best player on his team most of his career. KD was better than him. James Harden was better than him. Bradley Beal is better than him. When he was on those teams with just Steven Adams, obviously he was the best player then, but he had Dennis Schroeder, who was really good. Maybe not just as good, but really good too. He's just never had the success. I don't see anything Russell Westbrook has done to earn the reputation as a top 5 player in the NBA, if not top 5, top 10 is what almost universally people seem to think he is. He has the MVP award. Should be James Harden's award. He averages a triple-double. Yeah, he was on a terrible team. He's super athletic. First of all, when you're rebound hawking, that's going to happen. He would leave his guy, go stand under the rim when a shot's taken, and try to fight for that rebound. That's just not impressive to me. I mean, yeah, he's getting a triple-double. He's trying to get triple-doubles. Like, he's shooting at like a 29% from 3. He's shooting like a 40% from the field. He's inefficient. He doesn't finish well at the rim. He's super athletic, so he gets to the rim a lot. Doesn't finish at a high clip there. He can't shoot. His defense isn't great. He's just athletic. He's a good passer, but his assist to turnover rates are not great. There's just nothing in his game. And I'm a Russell Westbrook fan. I want to emphasize that. I'm not hating on Russell Westbrook. I am a fan. I love to watch him play. He's super exciting. Just at the end of the day, when you look at it, he's not that great. He's not a top 10 player. And that's what fans and media seem to elevate him as. Patrick Beverley, I get that a lot of people do say he's one of the best wing defenders in the league. That is a very real subset of fans, and it's big in the media to say that. I just don't think there's as many people who actually believe that as the amount of people who believe Russell Westbrook is a top 10, top 5 player.
Yeah, I think that's I see where you're coming from with that. I think in my mind, what people view Russell Westbrook as is, I mean, even the most avid Russell Westbrook fan in the world will tell you he can't really shoot. We know that. So he's an athletic, big-bodied guard who can finish at the rim, handles the ball well, good passing, solid defense, freak athlete all over the court, extremely well-rounded. Other than the 3-ball, no real weaknesses in his game in any other facet of basketball. And I don't think he's a top 5 player in the league either for everything you just stated. I think you were spot on. But while people may think he's 10% better at what he does than he really is, he is exactly what everyone knows him to be. He is that all-around star, offensively and defensive guard who, a lot of versatility on both sides of the ball. He's inefficient, out of control, things like that. We know that, but I think as far as what people know that he does and what people tout him to be, I think he brings it, just not quite as much as people say. For Patrick Beverley, he's on the court and gets paid to be, like you said, one of the best wing defenders in the league. And I think he sucks at defense. I don't think his defense is good. Everyone knows he's bad at offense.
I think KD would disagree with you.
He's had some good games
against
against some good
box
players.
In the playoffs.
KD and James Harden are the two that people point to. Look how he shut them down. Those two guys did have bad games against Patrick Beverley. Those two guys have also, had bad games against other people too. It's not like Patrick Beverley, Patrick Beverley has gotten scored on by people. So it's not like everyone who goes against Patrick Beverley
He
gets
got torched by Russell Westbrook for one, but...
Right. Yeah. The other thing, too, not as a big shot to these guys, but it's just the reality with Kevin Durant and James Harden. One common denominator they have is they're fairly easy to ruffle their feathers. It's not hard to get under either of their skins. Once you get inside of a basketball player's head, you've thrown his game off. It's way too easy to get into those guys' heads. Patrick Beverley excels at getting in guys' heads. So if there's two guys in the league who are supremely talented but would get clamped by Patrick Beverley, it is Kevin Durant and James Harden, just because they're so easy to ruffle their feathers and throw them off kilter. Other than that, he doesn't do a great job at clamping anybody. He's small, so he's not a versatile defender. I know people love to say he can match up with force. No, he can't. Watch him guard a power forward. It's a joke. Give me a break. Watch him guard small forwards. He made second team all defensive this past year with Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi Leonard is 10 times the defender that Patrick Beverley is, and Kawhi doesn't even try that hard on defense. You know what I mean?
So is Paul George. They're both better than him.
Exactly. It's terrible. And then you look at the contract that Patrick Beverley was just given, a $40 million contract to play guard. If you look at some of the other guards in the league, one of these guys is a big asterisk next to it, and I'll get to that in a second. He makes more money than Lowry. He makes more money than Dragic. He makes more money than Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. He makes more money than Luka Doncic. I know Luka's not really a point guard, and he's still on his rookie deal.
Yeah.
But, I mean, still, at the end of the day, you look at what you're paying Patrick Beverley to do and what he gives you. You're paying him to play defense. He's not a good defender. He sucks on offense. Why? I don't get why this guy's in the league, because he tries harder than everyone else.
So,
it's because he sucks.
I think there's a couple things
He doesn't suck.
that are being overlooked a little bit. I think he's maybe not the technically best defender. I get it. I get Kawhi is far and away probably the best two-way player. He's probably, one of the best wing defenders in the league, if not the best still. But Patrick Beverley is a dog. Point guards are probably, like we said, the second most important position on the court, if not the most important position on the court. You can make the argument. He's a dog. He'll get in your opposing point guard's grill, and he will throw them off. And he can do it to small forwards, too. Kevin Durant's 6'11", maybe 7 foot, gets in his grill, throws him off. He's aggressive. Maybe he fouls a little bit more than it's called, but you can't hold that against him. If it's not being called, then it's not being called. It's not a foul. Technically, it is a foul. I get that point, but it's not showing up on the stat because of foul. So, he's not getting that, points taken off from me. He's in their grill. He's messing with their head like Draymond Green. He's hard to get by because he's quick laterally. So, he does have that going for him. He has long arms. He can get his hand in there and get the ball away from you. He can contest your shot. He's quick laterally. He is a dog on defense, and he's someone who's going to wear down that best player. Even if he's not, shutting them down to less than 10 points, he's going to wear them down to the point where you come to the fourth quarter, they're not going to be that guy anymore because they just spent 3 quarters being harassed by this guy barking in their ear the whole time. I think it warrants the contract. I think the type of team that the Clippers are is a team full of dogs, is what they're supposed to be. They didn't turn out to be that, but theoretically what they're supposed to be. I think his contract warrants what they need from him. They have Lou Williams to do the scoring coming off the bench. They had the past couple years. They don't need a point guard that's going to come in and be Rajon Rondo or be, a Dennis Schroeder or whatever. They don't need that guy because they have Kawhi Leonard. They have Paul George. What they need is what they got in Pat Beverley.
I think you nailed it with saying that Patrick Beverley perfectly fits what the Clippers are as a team, which is a bunch of guys who are supposed to be dogs who get together and play mediocre basketball. So I get it. He fills the role his team needs from him. They specifically create that role because of how limited he is as a player. He puts in more effort on defense than anyone else in the league because he literally doesn't contribute on offense. Almost no other player in the NBA can say that. No other player in the NBA is allowed to basically take offense off because they're so bad at it and just play defense.
Draymond Green,
yes. He's another guy that I almost put on this list, but like I said, I think most people know by now. So what his team requires him to do, for me, isn't as important as the fact that he's there to play defense, and I don't think he's good at it. Russell Westbrook is touted as an all-around versatile superstar point guard, and though he is a bit overrated as a player, he is exactly what people think he is. I think he's a star for sure.
I think there is a bit of a disagreement that he is a star for sure, but like you said, people expect him to be better finishing at the rim than he is. You expect a guy that athletic who gets the rim all the time to finish at a 60% clip. He's not even close to that.
It's probably because Patrick Beverley fouls him at the rim every play.
There's maybe he gets fouled. He's a bit out of control when he tries to drive. He doesn't have great footwork. It's not. Yeah. I don't think he is the player players think he is, or fans think he is. I think there are players like that in the league. I think John Wall is better than Russell Westbrook, if we're being completely honest here. Ja Morant, however you want to pronounce it, I think is better than Russell Westbrook already. There's those guys in the league that are what fans think Russell Westbrook is. Pat Bev, I don't think there's another Pat Bev really in the league that I could think of who is that guy who is a point guard or shooting guard, whichever one he's lined up as, and is paid just for his defense. I think he's kind of unique in that way. I think that's a role that the Clippers need, and I think that's kind of why he got that contract.
Well, I think if you took other players who are allowed to either come in off the bench or be the worst of your starting five, not play offense, and just foul everyone who holds the ball every play and the refs not call it, I think a lot of guys could be lockdown defenders in the league like him. But unfortunately, he's the only one who receives that treatment.
I think Russell Wilson is probably my choice as
Westbrook.
well.
Russell Wilson, huh?
Russell Westbrook is my choice as well.
And I'm the editor, so I'm not cutting that out.
That's fine. Air my mistakes. It's all good. I'll own them. Give it a couple years, though. Hear this now. Zion Williams is well on his way to taking over this role.
No.
Zion Williams is getting onto the highway, and he's about to merge into the left fast lane onto the road of most overrated player in the NBA.
End the segment. Cut it.
I actually agree with Jacob, but we're at the end of our video, so we won't get into it.
Oh, no. We lost him. We lost him. That being said, let us know in the comments below who's the most overrated player in the NBA right now. Does Zion Williams deserve to be in that conversation? We have one host that walked out of the room. He feels so strongly about it. So let us know in the comments below. Thank you for watching. If you want to see us talk about any topics, let us know. We'll take any and all suggestions.
Real quick, if y'all have any suggestions for a new host as well, give us let us know. Send us their resume. We'll consider anybody else.
Oh, man. We'll see you next time. Screw Zion Williamson.
See ya.